Hey everybody, welcome to the show. You can see I didn't get the background up. It's been a hot mess lately at the shop, but we're moving things along. That's all we can do. You see we got Scott's Vega in the background. Been working on that. Unfortunately, this last week it's been one step forward, two steps back. Hey Rick, how you doing? I had to get different bell housing, different clutch, different flywheel than what was in there before, because the other stuff was for 153 tooth, and they do not make that for the LS. So we had to get a new bell housing, new clutch. I had a flywheel already because I knew the flywheel would be different. But hey Don, how you doing? So that was a little bit of a mess, and then I was ready to put everything back and put it all together, and I couldn't get the proper clearance on the pilot or on the throwout bearing, and come to find out that Ram makes a special nose for the transmission. Of course, that went with the transmission that was in the car previously, so I couldn't get the proper 200 thousandths clearance between the clutch fingers and the throwout bearing, so I had to order that. So that'll be here in the next, hopefully 2 days or so. So put me way behind on that. But I did work on I got the accessory drive belt on, which I didn't get a picture of that, but I did get the just finished up literally 10 minutes ago getting the fan shroud built. Scott always likes to push the envelope, so to speak. We had a sheet of ABS plastic in here. I always make the shrouds out of aluminum. He says, "Hey, I'd really like to have plastic because it would look more factory-ish, I guess, with the grained ABS plastic." So I went ahead and built a fan shroud with that. Of course, I had to figure out how to bend it in the brake without snapping it and stuff like that, but I've got that. I'll show you guys pictures of that here shortly. So once I get the shroud, the fan and shroud mounted tomorrow, I've just got some small wiring to do, and it'll be ready to fire up. But before I can go any farther, I really need to get Smurf in the shop, because we got the new Lexan, clear Lexan window for the car, so I got to get that cut and installed and do all my normal between race maintenance. And I need to get it done by Saturday because next Tuesday, Scott and I leave for Louisville. So, and I get back the following Monday, which I believe is I get back on the 10th, and we leave on the 13th to go to Rockingham to race the car. So I don't have time for any maintenance when I get back. I have to hook up to the truck and be ready to roll. So I'm going to do a little gear shifting here in the shop and move a bunch of stuff around, get that all squared away. But that'll be our next big deal. I wanted to do a show tonight on time certs and helicoils and all that stuff, and I have to apologize. This last week has just been crazy. So the wife and I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or not, but about 3 weeks ago, I purchased a new to me Newmar Country Dutch Star, Newmar Dutch Star motorhome, 38-foot diesel pusher. That's going to replace the sliding camper and dually that I've had for years. So I sold the camper already, and now I'm getting ready to put the truck for sale. And the like I said, the diesel pusher camper is going to be the new trailer hauler, and later on I'll probably pick up a little Tahoe or something just to drive around local and move around the trailer, just for whatever short distances we have to go. See, Chuck's in. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, Chuck. Sorry, Chris. Man, I should put my glasses on. Chris is in. I saw CH and I thought it was Chuck. Sorry about that, Chris. We talked briefly with Chris. Dave's in. Hey, Dave. Talked to Chris briefly on Monday morning when I was coming back from our little weekend trip. And Chris went up the road to Atlanta, and I think he's all pumped up to go and race that. And I did not, Chris, apologize, I did not call the machine shop to see if the engine is finished. That was on my things to do list, and I just have not been able to get caught up yet. It's been crazy. Unfortunately, to maneuver the Smurf rig and the camper and everything else, it's a big shift around here. Last Friday, my buddy Mike came down and got the open trailer, so we had to unload the open trailer. It had a Chevelle sitting on it, so we had to move this Smurf trailer and truck out in the front area and move the camper and put the dually over on the other side of the house and move all this stuff around, and then kind of reshuffled back in. Well, now I have to reshuffle everything once again, because now the motorhome is in the driveway and the Smurf trailer is alongside of the shop in the parking spot the bus will normally sit in. So that'll be for tomorrow. But that definitely goes, and being gone all weekend, that definitely messed up my timing to get a show put together. But we'll get that going. And I guess depending on where Scott and I are, I may do next week's show live on the road, or we may be to a hotel. So for you guys that may be new to the show, Scott and I are going to Louisville, Kentucky for the NSRA car show coming up in not this weekend, but the following weekend. So we're driving up. Originally, we were going to take the Vega. Well, that ended up not happening. And we were going to try to get his vintage race car hauler. It's a C60 truck. There's some videos on the channel. Try to get that done, but we've got some gas tank issues. And I wanted to get the gas tanks coated because the rust is coming from the inside and it's trashing the fuel system. And I thought it would be much better not to take that because it's going to be a long trip on an untested vehicle. And even though I bought a bunch of fuel filters, I just didn't feel like being underneath it on the side of the road changing fuel filters every couple hundred miles if we could get that far. So, hey, there's Chuck. Yeah, we're getting, that we decided just to go ahead and drive his Buick Le Mans up, which we did that. We've got a couple videos on that. We drove it to Columbus, Ohio 2 years ago for the big Good Guys show. So we're going to take that car. He's got almost 28,000 miles on that car. So that's his long distance car. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I see Chris says, how's Benji? He's doing good. I got him right alongside me. He's one of the reasons why I don't have the screen up behind me, because his playpen is in the way. And Dave asked about, I put a windshield in Smurf. Yeah, I did put a windshield in it, but it was 3 years ago. And the car's been in the paint shop twice and in the chassis shop. And they got it all screwed up. So I gotta cut a new windshield. So Wrench says, how do you cut the Lexan abrasive wheel? So no, what I do is any of your home goods stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever, you can get a polycarbonate jigsaw blade, and the teeth are really far apart, and it's supposed to help keep the polycarbonate cool so it doesn't jam up. So I will take the old windshield out, lay it on the new one, mark it out, give myself probably a 1/4 inch oversize, cut it with the jigsaw, and then what I do is I take a belt sander with start out with 36 grit, and then go to 60, and then final with like 80 or 100 grit, and sand it down to size. And that way, with the belt sander, I can maneuver it back and forth. I can clean up and straighten up all the edges. And then one thing I've started doing after I did the windows in the Cup car is they put they sand, instead of being a 90-degree edge, they actually bevel it a little bit. They sand it on like a 30-degree, or I guess if you go from 90, it would be like a 60-degree angle. And that way, when you put it in the metal frame, because there's always going to be a rolled curve from sheet metal brake or however the window frame is built, that takes up for that. So that's how I'll do it. I'll cut it with the jigsaw, then start sanding it to fit, and I got the glass clear. So what I'm hoping to be able to do is to mark all my pre-drilled holes that are already in the car, and then once I get all my holes drilled, Cleco it in, make sure it all fits properly, edges are all good, then I'll pop it out, mask the backside, paint the backside so it's got a nice factory looking edge, and then and I'll countersink. I've got a countersink bit that's got a nylon piece, so you can countersink to a certain depth so the screws will go flush. And I use, on that car, I use aluminum and black anodized screws. Otherwise, I also have stainless steel screws that are black coated. And the reason for that is that way the screws blend in with the black border, so you don't see them. And they don't rust. Johnny says, what kind of car is that? So the Smurf car is a 85 Monte Carlo SS grudge car, and it's got a small block nitrous motor in it. We run in what they call the A League, which is basically the top tier class in small block. So they on Facebook, you can look up SB Nitrous A League is one of the groups, and they this year decided to put on a racing series. So we are now entering the third race, the second week of August, which is going to be the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And that is going to be one of Mike Hill's races. He's the promoter, and it's going to be at Rockingham Dragway in North Carolina. So we'll be up there and get that done. So if you look in the shorts and stuff, there's a bunch of videos of the car. It's a blue Monte Carlo radial tire car, and basically what they've done is all these grudge cars go out, and of course everybody wants to pad their bet, right? Nobody wants to jump on a giant and lose money. So it kind of got to this point with small blocks that only a handful of them would race each other because of all the components that these cars have in them. So this group, the small block A League shootout guys, came up with some rules for stock bore center motors for 4.5. Stock is 4.4 bore center, and 4.5 and 4.6 motors, and then with lockup and without lockup, and cast heads versus billet heads, and they kind of came in with a whole package. And so far, it seems like it's working out really good. We've had no runaway cars in the series. There's about 16 cars in total. We've only gotten so far about 8 to any one event because of nutrition. People test on their way going to the next event, and they hurt the engine or whatever, and so they aren't able to make it. And some new cars are coming out. I've heard that there may be a couple new ones at this event. So we'll see what happens. We're currently tied in third. Hey Ron, how you doing? So we'll see what happens. We did a power wheelie at the last event in the semifinals. So obviously you can't go as fast with the front wheels in the air. So we lost that round by about a car length. So we did our due diligence, and hopefully we got everything figured out, and we'll see how it goes for the next event. But like I said, I'm going to go to Louisville first, so I have to have the car done this week so that I can have it in the trailer and ready to roll when I get back, because I won't have any. I only have basically 2 days to do whatever I can do. So I don't want to leave anything last minute with that, so it's already ready to roll. And then I got to finish thrashing the Vega so we can get that done for LS Fest. So LS Fest is going to be, let's see here. Sorry, I got the calendars over here on the wall. So we're going to be leaving for LS Fest probably going to leave Wednesday, the 9th of September for LS Fest. So that gives me a couple weeks to get the Vega finished. I'm close. I mean, if I didn't have the Smurf maintenance to do, I could have the Vega running this weekend. Obviously, there'll still be a lot of touch-up work that needs to be done and tuning and stuff like that, but that's what we're going to work on. Knock out Smurf. If I can knock it out as quickly as I hope to, maybe I can get Saturday and then next Monday to get some more work done, maybe get it running. Matt says, looking forward to seeing the Vega running. Yeah, Matt, and I can get your Chevelle going too. So a lot of things here that need to be done, and of course I'm one guy, so it takes a little bit of time to get all this done. So, but that kind of gets you guys. So we were talking about the. We got the camper. We went up to our cousins up in Palatka. They've got a place on the St. Johns River, and had a great time. The camper drove real well. A little bit of fuel issue. Changed the fuel filter while we were up there. On the way back, it solved 90% of a little bit of bucking going up grades. So I think a lift pump is going to be needed before we go to LS Fest. But everything worked out real well. Everything worked good, and got home pretty late yesterday. But we did get home last night, and so that's kind of the losing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is the reason why we didn't get the thread time cert helicoil tech stuff done. So that'll be for maybe I can get that done next week, although we'll be on the road, so it may still be up in here how we get all that done. But I think I'm going to have a little downtime. Scott mentioned he thinks he may have made all of his reservations a day ahead of where we should be. So we probably should have been leaving on Wednesday, but we're leaving on Tuesday. So reservations are made, so we can't really do anything about that. We're just going to have to play it by ear. So, but nevertheless, let me show you guys. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, Scott wanted to have an ABS plastic shroud instead of aluminum, just because it looks more OEM-ish, I guess. Wrench says, I am 51. I'm nowhere near the energy you have. Yeah, I wish I had more energy. That is something that Chuck and Dave, my Saturday crew, we talk about. We're all about the same age, 63, and I don't have the energy that I used to have. There used to be, back 15 years ago, man, I'd put 14, 15 hours in every day, and I can't do that anymore. Even if I'm in the shop for 8, I'm lucky I can get 6 hours of billable work done, just because you just don't have the energy to crank it like you used to, So even though I work 8 to 10 hours for the whole day, it's not time that you can actually charge for, because there's a lot of downtime in between. And of course, on a project like Scott's, there's a lot of research work done, because you're trying to fit a bunch of parts that weren't fitted to go together, and so you got to find situations and things that can fix the issues. A lot of internet search and conversations with other with salespeople and stuff like that, trying to get figured out what will work and what won't, and then obviously then you're chasing the parts where you're going to get a good price, and then how fast can you get it so that you can keep the job moving along. At one time, I was hoping to be able to run 2 jobs at a time. That way, when I had downtime, I could jump on another job. But right now, I'm not in that position. So, well, I mean, I guess I'm going to work on Smurf tomorrow. But I tried to always have 2 in the shop so that I could go back and forth. But right now, I have 3 cars in the shop, or 2 cars and Chuck's truck. And so everything's jammed on top of everything, and there's just not enough room to take half a day to move everything around in the shop, reorganize so that you can go working on something else. So kind of got us drugged down a little bit, but hopefully we'll get that remedied here soon. And of course, most of the country is in this crazy heat wave that we're in, and even though my shop is air conditioned, it's still in the mid high 80s in here because I never got the insulation done in the roof that I wanted to do. So nor AC vents. So struggling a little bit with temperature this year also. But anyhow, back to the fan shroud. So here's let's see what we got here for. I did it again. Hopefully my youngest will be home in about 4 weeks. I got to get her to do some more maintenance on my computer because things still don't operate the way I want them to. So here's the that didn't work. All right, so here's the shroud all finished up. I didn't get any pictures of it assembling it, but I mean you can go online and kind of read. So what I did was had to put the ABS plastic in the sheet metal brake, and then I had to heat it with a heat gun up to about 260, 280 degrees, and then it'll brake pretty good. I had a hard time getting it that hot and stabilized, so it got a little cracking on the outside edge, but all in all, not terrible. You can see there's just a little bit of cracking on there, but it seems to be still very stiff. So one of the things we're working on with this setup is we're going to use a set of brushless fans. My first attempt at that. Holly has pulse width modulated outputs, so we can operate the fans through the ECU. And the beauty of that is you don't have to have the fans running at high speed all the time. So how I'm basically got this one set up is one fan is going to turn on at right about 160. So I like to get it like just before the thermostat starts opening, because before the thermostat opens fully, you'll start getting trickling warm water going into the radiator. So I want to catch it as it's starting to get in there. And then the second fan, and that'll probably be at like 15% duty cycle. And as the temperature goes up, it'll go up in duty cycle. And so if we can keep the engine running at, say, 175, well, then the fans will probably only be at 20 or 30% duty cycle, which should keep the noise down pretty well. And the beauty of it is, as soon as it starts climbing up higher, I can build a table that will it will then raise the duty cycle up. So as it needs more cooling, the fans will go faster, and that way they're not going to be howling all the time like you would normally have. The other benefit is that these fans are a lot more efficient. So these are 11-inch spalls, and these fans will flow 2,400 CFM at 80% duty cycle. So combined, we're over 4,000 CFM of airflow. So we should not have any issues trying to control the heat. Now this is a Griffin cross flow radiator, 2-pass, and with the 327 that was in it before, with a metal flex fan and no shroud at all, the motor ran like 8 degrees over the 160 thermostat. So it never really got to 175. It always stayed nice and cool. So hopefully it'll be the same situation with this setup. One of the things you do have to have with these fans, you do have to have a lot of amperage in your charging system. These fans are rated for 40 amps each. So we're going to put a 75 amp, I'll tie the powers together and they'll go directly to the battery, and it will be have a 75 amp fuse on it. And the way they wire is you have ground and power. Those get hooked directly to your battery. And you got a white and a yellow. Here you can see the white and the yellow. White is a pulse width modulated negative. The yellow is a pulse width modulated positive. So whichever way your ECU or system is, that's how it controls how much speed or how much duty cycle the fan has. What SPA sells in their kit is they sell a temperature, a special like a rheostat type temperature sender, and that will do the same thing. You hook it to the white wire and it will make the fans have variable speeds, and that'll work out well. And then eventually this car is going to get air conditioning, so then we will tie the air conditioning on to a set duty cycle, probably 30% duty cycle or something. So even if the temperature isn't up, it's automatically going to turn the fans on to draw air through the condenser. You have to have air on your condenser, or the head pressure on the AC will go too high and you'll lose your cooling system. Possibly, if the system has a below a high pressure fuse or dump valve, it could dump your Freon, and if not, it could just keep rising until it finally either seizes the compressor or blows a hose apart. So you definitely always want airflow on your on going across your condenser when the AC is on. So here's a couple other pictures of it. So you can see I broke the was able to break it. There's a aluminum header panel on the top and bottom, so that this edge will bolt onto that, and should work out really well there. Here's the bottom side, and again there is you can see that's the other side, but there's an aluminum plate and the shroud is cut to fit exactly with that. So get 3 bolts on the top and 3 on the bottom, and that should hold it all pretty good. We have a 5/8 step away from the core, so the fans aren't dead against the core, so they'll draw hopefully through the entire core. That's pretty much how I always set them up, and it worked out real well. Even though this ABS is very flimsy, but once you break the edges, obviously that gives it a lot of rigidity, and then you bolt the fans on, it actually is probably just as solid as the 60 thou aluminum shrouds that I normally build. So I think it came out cool, like Scott was looking for. You got the ABS grained plastic, so it kind of looks like not an OEM unit, but it kind of gives you the OEM feel, I guess, so to speak. And again, that's one of Scott's build criterias. He likes everything to look like GM would have made it that way. So came out well. Probably get some more ABS and do another thing on that. Wrench says you can TIG those corners with no wire to fuse them, otherwise break them round. Okay, well, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. First time working with the ABS. I mean, I've made plenty of ABS panels, but they were just flat panels. I never broke them before. So yeah, I might look into see if I can make it rounder. But it seems so far seems to be very solid and rigid. So happy with it. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt to clean those corners up a little bit. Yeah, I might. I've got another piece that I broke as a temp piece, so I'll go ahead and play around with that and see what kind of what I can do to correct those corners, either with the heat gun. Yeah, another thing would have been to move the. Oh, wrenches. That's ABS. Yes, sir. That's ABS. I thought it was aluminum. Okay, that's why you're saying TIG. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to TIG it because it's not going to create an electrical ground or polarity there. So yes, it's ABS plastic, but I still think I could maybe take a heat gun and blend that in a little bit better. The bottom one obviously looks worse than the top one. Always, you know what they always say, worse. First one's the worst one. So the second one came out a little better. But had I taken my time, I could have moved the fingers back on the sheet metal brake, and that would have made it a more rounder corner. So stuff to work on for the future. So we'll see how it goes for now, and then you know we'll how that goes later on. But see here. You guys were asking about Benji. Let me see if I can get him to come over here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Benji, up. Come on, buddy. Come here. There. Benji, come here. Up. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. He's being a little camera shy. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, up. Why don't you want to come up? Here. Come on. Come here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'd just go pick him up, but he's 95 pounds, so I don't know if I... Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right, well, I guess you don't want to come. So... Come on, buddy. Come on. There you go. That's a good boy. Come on. Up. All right. I guess he's too camera shy. How about come up here? You want to come up here? Come on. Oh well. I'll have to get him to do that at another point. Still a little crazy there. Ren said, I want those fans. Dave says, I want those fans. Ren says, that's a lot of draw for cooling fans. Probably not ideal for a street situation. Actually, that's exactly the type fans all your new cars have on them. All the new, like your Chevy trucks from, I think 2015 up or 17 up have a dual 12-inch brushless fans, and the new hot fan that everybody's putting on their cars is the ZL1 fan off the 2026 and up to C8. It's a 19-inch fan. So the thing is, as far as the amperage goes, they're only going to be full amperage at 100% duty cycle, which you normally do not want to you don't want to run them. You want to limit them up to about 82% or 85% duty cycle. So at that point, they're only going to probably be about 30 amps per fan. So that's not terrible. And of course, almost all your new accessory drive kits will come with at least a 115 amp alternator. On the LS motors, which I typically am always doing, 135 is the smallest alternator. Scott's Vega, that motor we bought used, and it came with a 150 amp alternator. So we got plenty of power to run the fans. But the big thing is variable speed. So they're not going to be running 100% all the time like you would with a regular brush fan. So that's the whole thing is you can control, especially with the ECU, you can control the fans that they're barely turning, but they're so efficient that at 30-40% duty cycle, they're already outperforming a brush motor, and hopefully we'll see how it works out on this. A lot quieter. That's one of the big things. Rinses for a classic car hot rod build. Yeah. So yeah, if you got like a Gen 1 small block and a Model T or Model A, kind of like what you're doing, and you're running a 60 amp alternator, yeah, that's not the fan to run. But if you've got a vehicle that's got cooling system issues and you want to get them licked, you know, you can always have your alternator upgraded and go to a fan setup like these, and you know, obviously your more higher performance cars are the ones that are going to be using it. All your drive-in drag cars, I mean, they've been using Delta brushless fan systems for a couple of years now, and then of course a lot of guys have gone to the ZL1 for a lot less money than what the you know are. And of course these are not for the faint of heart price wise either. You know, these 11-inch brushless were $350 a piece, so they're not cheap. But here in Florida, the number one thing is to be able to make your car go in and out of cruise events and long car show lines without overheating, because that is always a trick to get that to happen. You know, most builds we do down here, we're using Be Cool, or in my shop, I prefer the Griffin radiators. So I mean, right there, you're talking $1,000 radiator, but they do outperform the other radiators out there. You know, you have your other Champions, and there's a whole slew of fans. Holly sells Frostbite, and there's a ton of other aluminum fan manufacturers out there, plus all your eBay China ones. They're good for the aluminum core, but the fin count and the tubing size of the tubes are not the same, and they still will have a lot of overheating issues. Rinses, yeah, even my weed whacker is brushless. She's got power. Our RC tracks are brushless motors too. They are pretty crazy. Yes, brushless does seem to be the way to go. And the other thing is, if you're running an ECU system, or you have a speed input. I haven't done this with Scott's, and I don't know. I got to see how many inputs and outputs I'm going to use on his car. But his TKX transmission does have a digital output, speedo output. So theoretically, I should be able to write a 2D fan table, which would be my x-axis would be temperature, my y-axis could be speed, and then I don't know what the third axis would be to make it 2D, but so we can run this fan at different variable rates of temperature and then slow them back down as the vehicle goes faster. So in all essence, saving electricity and energy, fuel mileage when you're on the highway, when the fan doesn't really even need to be turning. If you're going 60, 70 mile an hour, they usually you usually can get enough air going through that you don't even need fans. So where these will pull a lot of amperage, it's only going to be for short cycles. So just a different way of doing things, and just take a little time for everybody to get used to it. I've got a lot of people I know have been on this bandwagon for a while now, and this is going to be my first attempt at it, but I definitely can see the gains of it. But yeah, on a low buck hot rod, probably not might not be the exact way to go. Wrench says, I can never get our Newfoundland to pose for pictures either. Yeah, and unfortunately for Benji, he went through his neutering surgery, and that was a little bit of a mess because we couldn't get him to calm down enough where he ended up pulling stitches and stuff. That finally healed up, and then he busted a nail, I think in the pool deck drain grate. How he did it, I'm not sure, but I did see him jump when he was crossing the grate, and then he was hopping after, so I'm assuming that's when it happened. Well, the nail ended up falling off, and so now he's missing this finger on his right paw, so he's a little bit more timid right now because he doesn't want anybody touching his legs or his paws or anything. But he seems to be healing up good, and we took him to his local dog daycare for the weekend. We weren't ready to bring him on a trip yet, and they said he was fine, and he seemed to bite his old self again. So, but we'll see. I will get him on here eventually. But yeah, he's getting big. Today, yesterday was his gotcha day, so it was 1 year ago from yesterday that we got him from the litter that he was with, and he's just 13 and a half months old now, so he's still young. He is getting better about picking up junk, but not enough that I can turn him loose in the shop yet. Cable ties and anything else that is left on the floor, in his eyes, is fair game, and so then we end up having to get that out, chase him to get that stuff out of his mouth, and that becomes a big game. But yeah, that's our highs and lows with the Benjmeister at this point. So let's see, we got through all the update stuff. Got to build a hitch for the camper before we go to LS Fest, so I'll get a fabrication video up on that when we're doing that. Maybe I'll try to get some video of the windshield installation, because I can show you that no problem at all. The rest of the maintenance on the car is pretty not non-dramatic, just nut and bolt and stuff like that. So we'll see what we can do. Wrench says flat tappet break-in video coming. The small block Chevy that I am building with a flat tappet, we are ending up reusing the same camshaft and lifters that were in it, so there won't be any break-in on that. And unfortunately, the owner is not doing well health-wise, so we're kind of in a thrash mode to get that thing done, especially with me traveling. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that all done in a timely manner for him, but it may not leave us enough time to do a run video. Even though I wouldn't do a break-in, I could, if I borrowed my buddy's run stand, at least we could fire it up and run it and kind of show that. So figure out what we're going to do that. and trying to fill in time for you. Thanks. I am looking. I need to put something on Facebook, but I'm trying to find somebody that I can get to come in and do some video editing, because I've got a ton of videos that need to be edited to get on the channel, and obviously, as you can see with the time I've got now, I haven't had any chance to get any time to get any of those edited and get on the channel. Everything just seems to take so long, and as I'm sure most of you guys can attest, as we get older, it seems like time goes way faster. So when you think you got plenty of time, it just flies by. So it makes it tough. But yeah, we get. I know Rick's getting pretty close on his. Anybody that's friends with Rick on Facebook, he's got his 327 all assembled and mounted up in his 55 with the headers on. Looks great. How do I stop here? I don't know. I guess I got lucky with the hair jeans, I guess. I'm actually really not even that thin in the back. I'm surprised. But probably just my dad had a pretty good head of hair when he unfortunately passed at about 75, and my mom is 80, 81. I don't know right off the top of my head. I apologize for that, but she still has a pretty good head of hair too. So I think I just got lucky with the hair genes. But yeah, Rick should be getting ready to do his. So even though we won't have a video, at least we can go through this. This is a little tech section, I guess, for you for when you're ready to fire up a new motor. So what I do, assembling the engine, first thing you want to do is you got to stab the distributor after you prime the motor on with a oil primer, whether you do it with a pressure pot, or if you look at some of the lubrication videos that are the lubrication or oiling system live show we did probably about around episode 60s or 70s, somewhere around there. I think we did it. A big hurdle getting it in the car. You're right, Rick, but it looks great. You should always try to pressurize the motor. Obviously, if you have a distributor-driven oil pump, the easiest thing is to use a drive on a drill and prime it, and then you're ready to stab the distributor. So what I like to do is get the motor TDC compression, and I usually will, if you don't have a balancer that has full timing marks on it, either use a tape or measure the diameter and figure out the circumference and mark it so where you can see and get like 30 degrees advanced. So I'll put the motor at 30 degrees advanced rather than 0, because the motor is not going to want to run at 0. It's going to want to run at an advanced setting. So I'll go 30 degrees. And the higher you can get the degree, the timing, the colder the exhaust EGTs will stay. So if you're breaking in brand new headers and stuff, you don't want the timing down around 10 or 15, because the EGTs are going to be, exhaust gas temperatures are going to be so high, you're going to discolor your headers. So you want to get the timing up around 30, 35, even 40, because for break-in, there's no load on the engine. So, and 2,000 RPM, so you're not going to have to worry about detonation or anything like that. So like I said, what I do is I get the motor 30 degrees before TDC, I stab the distributor, and then if it's a mechanical advanced distributor, I will rotate the rotor back and forth and kind of find a happy spot so that the middle of the travel is lined up with the number one tower of the cap. So that's going to give your timing about 30 to 35 degrees. Lock the distributor. Your timing is now set. It will need to be adjusted later, but it's set for your initial break-in. You want to make sure you get your cooling system completely full, either by using a burp funnel. They sell these at the parts store. You screw on your cap, and it gives a funnel that mounts on top of your radiator. And on the go back to the live shows where we talked about cooling systems, and you'll see I showed those. Or you get a vacuum filler where you hook a shop air to it and it draws the system into a vacuum, and then you suck the coolant in. Either one of those will get the cooling system pretty much full, because you want to make sure there's no air pockets. You don't want to be able to, you don't want to have to stop the engine from running during the break-in procedure on the flat tappet lifters. Wrench says, I have a set of junk headers to use for break-in. Yeah, if you're doing the break-in on an engine stand, that's the easiest way of doing it. It's just a junk set of headers. You don't have to worry about it. Get you some fans. You can get some squirrel cage fans or something. Kind of shoot them under the front bumper to get air moving across the exhaust system. That helps out also. So then you want to, if you're running carburetor, you want to get a small funnel and you want to fill the fuel bowl on the carburetor so the carburetor is full of fuel. You don't want to crank it and wait for the pump the fuel and fill the carburetor up, because while you're doing that, you're wearing your camshaft out. The whole key to a flat tappet cam is the break-in lubricant that the cam manufacturer gives you, and getting the engine to crank and immediately go to 2,000 RPM as quickly as you can. If you're running really big springs, say you're running a flat tappet for like a drag or a stock car engine or something like that, where you're going to have anything over, say, 160 pounds of seat pressure, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll put on a single spring that has about 100 pounds on the seat and use those springs to break the cam in, and then put the heavier springs in later. The whole key is you want the mating surface of the camshaft and the lifter to mate and not grind. And so that's why you want to get the engine up to 2,000 RPM, 20 minutes. And that is going to get those parts to mate together. And if you do that properly and you don't have any issues, the cam should last a very, very long time. You'll have no issues with cam lobe wear or anything like that. Now, another thing is make sure your oil has zinc in it. So you want to use either a zinc additive with your oil, or a ZPPD additive, or use like a racing oil. I myself, when I'm breaking in any engine, because I'm also trying to break in the rings, I will use Joe Gibbs driven oil, and they have break-in, it's called BR 30, BR 40. So you can get either a 30 weight or a 40 weight break-in oil, and it's got a lot of additives to help seat the rings to the cylinder walls and to aid in metal-to-metal contact with the zinc and the phosphate, so that you don't have to worry about wearing the cam out. But those are the main functions. So you want to make sure you got good spark. So you're going to have to test some of this stuff without turning the engine over. If you want to test spark, and you got like an MSD box or something like that, or even an HEI or points, you can hook a ground wire to the distributor shaft, hook up your coil wire to the distributor, or to coil wire to a ground, and spin the distributor with the ignition on. Make sure you got spark before you stab the distributor. That's a good thing to do if you're not sure if you're going to have spark. If you've got an EFI engine, you need to try to have a base setup, a base tune in it. So if you're using like a Holley system, they have a wizard that you can go through, and it'll write a tune for you. Otherwise, if you don't want to use that, get with a tuning shop that is familiar with the software that you're using, and they can usually generate a very simple startup file for you, so you're going to have enough fuel to get through that break-in process. So those are the kind of the key things. You want to make sure you got cooling system is all good, like I said, full, but not only full, you want to make sure you have fans on it, and if you're using a mechanical fan, that won't be too much of an issue. You've got electric, you want to make sure that they're going to work. You may even want to hot wire them so they're already on, so you don't have to worry about that. So those are the main points on there. Wrench says, I'm going to videotape the break-in. If it goes bad, at least it'll be entertaining. Yeah, I mean, we've had stuff in the past, even doing all those things. You know, we've had stuck thermostat, or it was the air pocket, whatever, and it wasn't able. You know, yet it started boiling over. You know, just different things like that. Years ago, I don't like using them, but I've had customers that bring me that accordion stainless cooling hoses. And, you know, if you don't get them in the rubber couplers really good, they can blow out once the cooling system starts getting pressure in it. So you want to be careful with that. If you've got a good 4-wheel engine stand, you can get some long pieces of hose and put the radiator on the floor and with the fans in front of it and break it in on there. That works really good. Or if you know somebody has a test stand with the radiator and all that built in, that's always a good way of doing it. But you definitely want to, you know, get all that as well as you can. And the good thing about doing it, if you're doing it out of the car, is if you have oil leaks, you can check for that before you put it in the car and fix it. Another thing for when you're putting an engine together and you want to check for oil leaks is you can use a emissions smoke machine and fill the crankcase full of smoke, and it will ooze out anywhere where you would possibly have an oil leak. So that's always a good way of doing it too. Wrench says, honestly, I've done a ton of research along with more than a few tips from you. Should be okay. Yeah, if you just think about everything and just know in the back of your mind, this motor needs to go to 2,000 RPM ASAP. I mean, I try to get, as soon as it tries to hit, I crack it and get it up to 2,000 RPM. Then what we do is I take a screwdriver and adjust the idle stop screw so it stays at 2,000. So you don't have to hold it. That way you can walk away, you can walk around the car and kind of check your gauges, check your, use a infrared gun, checking cooling spots and stuff for hot spots and stuff like that. Just makes it a lot easier, especially when you're doing it by yourself, to do that that way. But all in all, it's not a bad deal. Now the downside is if you have to end up cranking it for an extended time, say you got to crank it over for 20, 30 seconds, I would go ahead and try to finish the break-in procedure, but more than likely you probably have ate the camshaft. Without the proper lubes in there and whatever coatings they're putting on them nowadays, they just do not seem to be very friendly. If you can get them broken properly, they're great. But if you run into a snag, it can mean a bad camshaft pretty quickly. So just try to, don't rush it. Make sure you got everything set, double check, triple check before you turn the key. And like I said, make sure the carburetor is full of fuel, make sure the timing is right, and it should light off right away. And then you should be in good shape. The other thing is, and it's something I push on to people, is to upgrade to a hydraulic roller camshaft. If you can afford the upgrade, it's probably about a $500 or $600 upgrade. Now none of that matters. None of it matters. You can just start it as you want. To break in rings in the pistons and to break in the cylinder walls, you want to do 3 heat cycles, but it doesn't matter what speed you run it at, although they do say they want a minimum amount of load on it and a varying load. So, you want to get the motor up, and that's why they kind of like that 2,000, 2,500 RPM range, because at that point the motor's kind of floating. Everything is moving pretty freely. Hey, White, what's going on? Wrench says, I should have gone roller. Oh, well. Yeah, the roller, because now it doesn't matter what kind of oil you use. I mean, it really solves a lot of issues. And sometimes you can get a good deal on that stuff, But on a low lift, something under 550 lift, and you're going to have about 100 to 130 pounds of seat pressure. You're pretty good with that stuff. As long as you can make it start and run, you should be great. If you're going into a bigger race cam, like I say, you're over 550 in the 600s, 700s, you definitely want to put in a very light break-in spring, because those, for that kind of lift, you're going to usually run a double spring or possibly even a triple spring, and you definitely do not want to try to break the cam in with double springs or triples. I really don't even like using the singles with a dampener. I like to have just a basic single spring for break-in, and then put the upgraded springs in later after the cam is broke in. So it kind of gives you guys an update on that. I'll talk to my buddy Doug. I know he had an engine stand. I don't know if it's at his shop or if he's got it at his place, but I'll see if I can borrow it from him, because the 327 we're doing, that is going into a restoration car. And so even though the lifters are all, I marked them when I took them out because we weren't sure which way we were going to go with the camshaft, but I etched in the oil release area what cylinder they came out of and whether intake and exhaust. And when I checked the camshaft out, I found that it had only 1/1000th variation between all 16 lobes. Just wasn't any sense in putting a new camshaft in when we've got one. It's already broken in, and we don't have to worry about any issues with it. Once they're broken in and you can get the lifters back in the same spot, it goes right together. You don't have to worry about any of that. But it would be a good thing we can pretend that we're breaking the cam in. I can show you all the procedures and stuff. So that might be a pretty good deal. So we'll see how that works out depending on when I get it together and where we're at time-wise. So I will try to get some more tech stuff for the next week's show. Like I said, we will be on the road. I think we should be to our hotel by then, so that should make things a little easier. But we'll see where we're at next week, and we will go live at 7. Just it may be from the road or it may be from a hotel. We'll see. Wrench says I could send the engine to the shop to board it. They have a dyno spendy though. Yeah, and I've seen there's a couple engine shops now, especially your large rebuilder shops, that now have a oiling dyno, and they stick the engine in this cradle in a tank basically, and they'll actually use an electric motor to crank the engine, to spin the engine, and they'll break the cam in, watch the oiling system, check for leaks, and do all these tests. They can put sensors in all the spark plug holes so they can check for compression and for intake vacuum, and there's no fuel going through the engine, so it's just spinning the engine, but they can break the cam in that way. So that's how your bigger companies, probably like Blueprint and some of the other ATK and Jasper, that's how they're all breaking their motors in. And that's why you don't typically see any camshaft wear issues, because they're breaking them in the ultimate way without any compression or combustion processes or anything. So the motor spins and it goes directly to 2,000 RPM, and they've got tons of oil pumping through the engine, and just a perfect scenario for that. So if you have a machine shop in your area, you can ask them about it if they have that kind of machine. Otherwise, they can always put on a dyno. But typically, dynoing an engine is typically about 500 a day, or 500 a half day, depending on your shop. But it's not a bad deal either, because as I said, you'll know whether you have any issues before you put it in the car. But if you have a good engine stand, I wouldn't run an engine, especially a V8, on a 3-legged engine stand. Just too much weight, too many chances of the motor from torque, especially. You've probably seen the crazy nuts on TikTok and on Instagram and stuff where they're revving the engine, the motor's flopping around and stuff. I mean, that is not the thing to do. But you could, if you have a four-wheel stand or anything where you can get the starter and a flywheel on the back, that would work perfectly well for a break-in stand. You just have to rig up a cooling system for it. I've even done in the years past many years ago. I built a V6 for a what was it car? It wasn't a. It was a Peugeot engine, but it was in a. Can't think of it. Anyway, it was an odd motor, and I didn't have any, weird hoses and stuff. And what we actually did there, I just made a attachment to the lower water pump to the inlet off of a garden hose, and then made another little rubber attachment to the garden hose out, and took the thermostat out, and we just ran city water through the engine the whole time it was running. So no, it was the weird car starts with a C, Citroen. It was a Citroen. And the engines in those things are really weird. They're front wheel drive, but it's got a transaxle, and the engine is mounted behind the transaxle. So it's really odd to get it into the car. Actually, the motor is really odd, period. But I was able to get a flywheel on it. We were able to put it on a engine stand with with the 4 legs, so didn't have to worry about it flipping over. And we didn't have any radiator hoses that would line up. So like I said, I just cut 2-inch pieces of radiator hose, put them on the radiator or on the water pump and the thermostat housing, and then made some tin foil hose clamp rigs and just ran water through it the whole time. Just let city water run through it without a thermostat, and obviously it kept the motor a lot cooler. And it worked out real well, and we got the cam broke in, and we made sure it didn't have any oil leaks, so that when it went to the shop for their installation, we wouldn't have to hear about it, because I think that was like 18 to 20 hour installation. So obviously we didn't want to have any issues with that. See, Cole made it. Hey, Cole, how you doing? Alarm forgot it was Tuesday. It does happen, sir. And Brent says, yeah, it would be in the frame of the car anyways. Yeah, so if you got it in the frame, it's not that big of a deal. Like on your hot rod, I mean, it'd be no problem just to do the water hose outlet deal and just let it eat with city water going through it. Might run up your water bill a little bit, but you can always play with the flow wise to make sure that you can slow it down to get the temp you want and stuff like that. But at least you wouldn't have to worry about the cooling system and stuff like that. So anyway, that'll be something I will work on that in the future, because that Corvette engine will be probably one of the few that I have that actually would need a cam brake in. So it'd be a good one to show. And it's going in a full-on frame-off restoration, so we definitely don't want to be doing anything in car, because it's getting a custom painted engine and everything else. So we definitely don't want to have any issues with it in the car. So test stand would be ideally the way to do that. And I'm sure we can find some headers or something to run it on. So anyway, so I guess that's about it for tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. I apologize about not getting the thread repair tech tips done. I will work on that in the near future. And like I said, I'll see what we're going to do for next week's show. We'll be on the road, but I will be in the passenger seat. So maybe I can get if I can keep a good internet connection going, maybe I can find some good stuff to show, and maybe we'll do that thread insert deal, because I'll make Scott drive. I'll sit in the passenger seat and work on the show all day. So we'll have 12 hours to get that done. So anyhow, that's pretty much it for tonight. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Subscribers are still pretty low in overall viewers, but it's kind of it seems that way with all the other channels too. We seem to have about a 30% subscriber rate, but if you aren't subscribe. It's free. It's not going to cost you nothing. You're not going to get spam in your email. You're not going to get notified except when we drop videos. So it'll be a good way to remind yourself, hey, there's something coming. So anyway, with that going on, we'll keep going. So Ren says, at least I kept your lips moving. Yeah, thanks, French. That was good. Rick says, thanks, great show. Appreciate it, guys. It's a shame I don't have time to go up to Pennsylvania and help Rick with his startup. That'd be a great cam break-in video, but maybe I can get mine done before he gets his done. So we'll see. Anyway, appreciate it, and we'll see everybody next week. Like I said, smash the like button and do all that fun stuff. Have a great week, and we'll see everybody next Tuesday. See ya!